14 rounds.
Right?
Hey, so I just had a question. Since it's been, a few directors and many years, this seemed like an impossible project.
Yes.
And not only that, Warcraft players going to have very high expectations.
Yes.
How are you going to overcome all of this?
Well, I think one of the most important things right from the start was for me to work hand in glove with Blizzard and make sure that every part of the process that they felt like I was, playing by the rules and playing honest and being just to what players are expecting. I have been playing in the Warcraft franchise, the game, since for 20 years, since Orcs and Humans. In fact, I played Lost Vikings and stuff before that. So I felt very comfortable in the Warcraft universe. Now, World of Warcraft has expanded exponentially compared to what the original Warcraft universe used to be. But what we talked about, what I talked to Chris Metzen and Nick Carpenter and the guys at Blizzard about is this is the start of the story. This is the first contact story. This is back when Warcraft was an RTS and orcs met humans for the first time. So by choosing that moment in the lore and knowing the characters that were going to be involved in that, it kind of gave us some stipulations right up front as to what the film would be. But as I said, working with the Blizzard guys and having them along for the whole process, and also, actually, a lot of my core team, who are not part of Blizzard, are themselves long-time players of World of Warcraft and the Warcraft games. Bill Westenhofer, who was my VFX supervisor, is a long-time player. Rob Kaczynski, who plays Orgrim, is a world-ranked player. So, I have core people in my team who play Warcraft as well. So even if Blizzard weren't around, and they were pretty much always around, people I was working with would always be able to sort of remind me of things or keep me on track. And I played myself as well, so I think it was a good team.
Did you plan the whole story arc on a multi-picture level, or are you taking one project at a time?
We made sure that the film would work as an individual thing, but what we also did is know if we have the opportunity to make 3 movies, which tends to be the sort of standard practice, but if we have that opportunity, where would we go in 2 and 3? So I know and hope that I will have that opportunity, but the film will work as a single unit if that's the way it goes.
One of the things that resonates with Warcraft players is your side are the heroes, the Alliance or the Horde. So I know in high fantasy there's always the villain and the good guy, but is there going to be, like, my Orcish brothers, are we going to watch it and feel like we're represented fairly?
100%. That was my whole pitch, and I think that's why it was difficult for them to find a way to make the film in the first place, because when they were working on it before the people involved were not seeing it that way. I have always, as a Warcraft player, I have always felt, look, whatever character you choose, whatever side you're on, you feel that you're the hero, and we have to do a war story where you're going to have the opportunity to feel that you can empathize with both sides. And that's what our film is. It's a story that tells from the orc side and from the human side how a conflict comes about where there is no way of escaping it. And we follow heroes on both sides. Duratan, who is one of the heroes on the orc side, and his buddy Orgrim, you empathize for those guys and you understand where they're coming from and why they're finding themselves unable to avoid the conflict that they get into. And on the same side, you have the humans and you have Lothar and King Lane, who you also empathize for. My loyalties, I'm not going to say, but I always are going to be in love with the orcs.
Was it sort of a relief to kind of have that focus, to sort of say, this is what it is, it's the first contact, and kind of be able to sort of...
Well, that was my pitch. That's what won me the job.
Okay. So it was a relief for them. It was a relief for them.
I think it was a relief for them, and I don't want to put words in Chris Metzen's mouth, but I've heard him say it before. He felt a flood of relief when I came into pitch, and he was kind of hearing what he'd been hoping to hear for a while. So we kind of gelled immediately, and it made the whole process that much smoother, knowing that without any understanding of what they wanted, I was already on the same side of the page as them. We've worked very, very closely the whole way through.
So you've had questions logged to you for the last hour. What's the one question you wanted to be asked all night that nobody's brought up?
I know the questions I don't want anyone to ask. No. I don't know. I mean, I think one of the questions I think is just about the characters in the film. The fact that we have an ensemble and the fact that there are so many characters on both sides that we're following. There certainly for people who know Warcraft, there are characters they're going to expect to see, but there's also going to be characters who are either much more minor in the lore or a couple of new characters entirely. And I think the cast all came to this project, most of them not knowing much about Warcraft, but all willing to go all out and embrace this fantasy universe that we were trying to bring to life. And I think there's some amazing performances by people that you may have never met or heard of before. There's an actress by the name of Anna Galvin who plays a character called Draka, who's Duratan's wife. She'd never done motion capture at this level before, and she puts in a fantastic performance. And the work that ILM have done, who did the visual effects of the film, is just absolutely just incredible, top-notch stuff. The capture that they were able to achieve just from the raw data to give performances to our cast is really extraordinary, and maybe you'll get to see some of that on Saturday.
And looking at your body of work, you've always been a very character-focused director, especially in Moon, where you have one character and you never even think about it until the film's over. But even in source code, you're still focused on just a few people. This is a massive expansion of scope.
Yes.
What kind of challenge is that represented as a character-driven writer and director?
I mean, I think it was a challenge that I wanted to take. I think I went from one actor to a couple of actors on source code to a big group of actors in this one, and I wanted that challenge. And I think you do find you have to work in different ways. You work with Sam Rockwell on his own, performing with Sam Rockwell. You can just stick the limelight on him. You can let him decide. Okay, I'm gonna play this side of Sam a little lower key than this side. But when you're working with a group of actors, you want to give everybody their moment, and you want to make them all feel loved and that they're important. And it's a different dynamic. But it's something that I felt very comfortable with, and I really enjoyed, especially with the cast I had. I mean, I had really great people to work with.
And now you've got that finish line in sight.
Yes.
Looking forward to future projects, are you thinking I want to do this big thing again, or are you looking to kind of center down?
I want to do a little indie sci-fi between now and when the film comes out in June next year. So I've got 11 months to try and scramble and get this little indie thing made, which is about the same time frame we had on Moon. So it can be done. So I want to try and squeeze something in before this comes out. And then, if this goes well, I would love the opportunity to keep playing in this universe for a little bit longer.
I'm going to give you an offbeat question.
Yes.
Did Blizzard give you a permanent lifetime membership, and how many hours do you really play Warcraft?
These days, I do not play a lot of Warcraft. I just have not had time. I had my first holiday in about 2.5 years last month. I went to Hawaii for 2 weeks. It was amazing. I got a tan. You don't know how long it's been since I've had a tan. I was like pasty white sitting in front of monitors for the last 2.5 years. So I haven't had much chance to play Warcraft lately. I will get back into it now, I think. I've certainly played a little bit of Hearthstone because that's easier to do on your iPad. And I'll just catch up on some of my gaming.
Or you should ask for a lifetime membership.
Yeah, that's true. And some epic loot.
Yeah. So this is going to be epic. What's it like for you? I mean, it's something that this is probably the last Comic-Con you can walk through the floor without being mobbed.
It is?
I don't know.
I don't know. No, I haven't thought about that. I came to Comic-Con before I was here with Warcraft, and just came here as a fan. And I don't know. I haven't thought about that. I guess that might happen. I don't know. Maybe.
You better think of a costume next year.
Maybe I'll come as Guillermo del Toro. No one will bother him.
All right.